Uh-oh, am I in a second channel video? Say hi, YouTube. So, in the last week, we've seen fighting game discourse basically accelerate extremely quickly in the fact that 2XKO had half of its staff laid off, and immediately, it was like we had like a little fighting game Big Bang. The whole start of every fighting game discourse started and ended in the course of about 3 days. Now, I could go on a rant about every single one of these discourses individually, and I probably will over the course of the next month. However, I thought, what a joyous time to be alive. Let's engage in the oldest form of discourse, a tier list. And so I have compiled all of the fighting game discourse. You can see all of it. This is every single one of them, and we're going to rank them because that's what a tier list is. Are arena fighters fighting games? It is politely the most who cares. It's a nothing burger topic, true. And yet it still comes around, I want to say like once a year, because there's one or two fighting games that are like, there's one or two arena fighters that people are like, this is a real fighting game. And then there is some guy who doesn't play the game in question, who has never engaged with it, never engaged with arena fighters even, and then go, yeah, but it's an arena fighter, and arena fighters aren't fighting games. And so it's not only that nobody asked in the first place, it's also that guy is like trying to bring up the topic to yuck their yum. And so it's, you know what? Even more so, it's not just who cares, it's annoying. Because chances are the discussion is being brought up in bad faith. Well, we like Tekken here, and that's basically an arena fighter. Now that's rage bait. Now that's rage bait. That's just Okay, maybe this isn't bait, but the casuals want X discussion. This one comes around very fucking frequently. How many chatters are actually talking to casuals on like, I don't know, let's say a monthly basis? This could be a coworker who does like fighting games, but doesn't like fighting games in the way that you would say the word frame advantage and they would go, yes. That you'd say frame advantage and they would go, this man has just started speaking Chinese to me. Every single time I want to chump check someone at work when they bring up fighting games, and that's not, this is a bad habit for me because I'm going, I know more than you, but anytime I want to chump check someone on fighting games at work, I go, do you know what the fuck frame advantage means? And they say no, and I go, I've won the argument. Which is fucked up of me because they don't even know that the argument is happening. The reason this discourse is like, for the love of God, please stop, we're going down, is because if this so-called casual that people believe exists does exist, then theoretically, there's too many of them to have the casuals want X discussion. It is disingenuous to assume that casuals as a group want anything. It's just not a group that you can make up and be like, let's have an accurate assumption about a straw man that I've made up in my head. And so the casuals want X discussion inevitably becomes, this person doesn't exist, I've made up a bunch of assumptions about them, and I've also made up a bunch of solutions to it. It's terrible. Casuals are usually less informed and not generally one group, so opinions will differ greatly. All my casual friends have greatly differing opinions. Exactly. And that's why we make different video games. It's why, like, the casual who likes Under Night doesn't necessarily like Tekken. It's insane to be like, casuals want X, and so X games should have this. It's like, that's not how that works. Welcome to the world in which we have a multiple layers of ketchup, as opposed to one ketchup. You wanna know why? It's because multiple different need different things. We have content speculation acted on, and content speculation just saying shit. Now, I want to clarify what this actually means. Every once in a while, a group of people will get together, usually on Twitter, and they don't know each other, and they're going, I wish we had a Sajam for X game. I wish we had a Tasty Steve for X game. Why is nobody at X game doing this? And this, it goes two completely different ways. Because if this discussion is the basis of 5 people that either have the skills to actually do anything about it or have the desire to actually do anything about it, even if they can't necessarily do it very well, actually good, incredible, because it means that you're putting more joy into the world, and this was a discussion of what can we add that brings the world joy. Wikis, for example. Just speculation, theories, guides, just a guy who just wants to put on a combo video or two, just wants to share a bunch of cool clips. A daily channel where he posts the highlights from his weeklies, maybe from weeklies all around the world. Fantastic. However, if it's content speculation, just saying shit, you need to leave. I hate this person, because if you're just going, I wish there was a guy who would just go and make X, Y, or Z for fighting games, you need to kind of be that person. You need to look at the world around you and recognize that the wiki isn't made by someone who, like, a divine entity said was allowed to make wikis. We're all allowed to just do shit. If you want to make something, you can just make something. And so to go out there on Twitter, get 20 people involved to go, why isn't there a guy doing X? Why isn't there a guy doing X? And then you don't become the guy doing X. You are creating phantoms of disappointment for yourself. Damage is too high. This is generally in response to new games, Street Fighter 6, the latest patch. It's annoying when people say it's a constant of every single game. It's like, just go and play a different game then if you're really that mad. When it's like the latest patch came out and it's like everyone's now two-touching, it's like, okay, I can see it a little bit. I think it's right in the middle of, like, sometimes it can be an important discourse. You know what? I'm actually with you. I'm actually with you, chatter. Shake my hand. Shake my hand. Oh my god. The foreshortening on my hand? Shake my hand. Shake my hand. POV, you're speaking to Leon Massey, but he has giant hands. I think I agree with you. It's very much who cares. Because there might be someone out there that cares, but generally speaking, it comes in completely uninvited. Who cares seems fine because there's a sliding scale from when a game comes out to present day as to how relevant it is. Do you mean like people saying that like damage is too high in like Marvel 3? Because then I would 100% agree with you. If someone's pulling out this argument for Marvel 3, it's like, you should leave. The game is already like at its final patch. Who gives a shit? There is a very, very slim chance that if it's like the latest patch and the developers need to know, it could be actually good, but like, let's be real, it's probably not. I think it's who cares. I think who cares. We're all agreeing on who cares. Fighting games are too complicated. It is an eternal statement. I feel like it always comes around. It comes around in like brand new times. So like when a game has just come out, but it's like the month after it's come out, or it comes out like 10 years after the game has been released. At which point, you're saying this game's too complicated when the game has been solidified to the point that it's a rock. People will say fighting games are too complicated and then attack click towers on the other side of the map to lose aggro in Dota, as if that's intuitive at all. See, I also think that this is annoying as well. But I think that, like, saying that, like, oh, but there's other complicated games out there too, in my head it's like, that's true, but also, no shit. TLDR, my point is, saying they're complicated isn't incorrect, but saying that they're unpopular because they're complicated could be proven wrong with these other examples. This is true. The rare chatter who can put fries in the bag, you're right. You get to choose. Where does it go? I like it where it is. We move on. We move. Fighting games are being dumbed down. You should leave. I can't stand the fighting games are being dumbed down guy. This specifically ends up being in relation to new games. This is always a new game bad guy, and I'm that guy. Don't get me wrong. 99% of the time, I am the new game sucks guy. I'm that guy with Guilty Gear, I'm that guy with Street Fighter, I'm that guy with Tekken. Please shut the fuck up about it being dumbed down though. Because whenever this discussion comes up, the guy seems to forget that it's like, holy fuck, the game that I liked that is not dumbed down still exists. You can still just go and play the other game if you really think that the new game is so stupid that anyone could win. Except for me, because the game's too easy. We're all stupid. It's all dumbed down. The conversation is irrelevant. I truly, truly hate the fighting games are being dumbed down discussion. because it also like brings out the other side of the audience where it's like the game's still complicated, and it's like they also weren't saying that it wasn't complicated at the same time. I think every single angle on the fighting games are being dumbed down discussion, incredibly annoying. It's like you're being surrounded by like 1,000 people who have only had their life experienced via Twitter. And chances are, if you're having the discussion, that might actually just be the case. Fighting games are dumbed down, are really a battle of generations, Unks versus Zoomers. It's true. Fighting games need X. This is like, okay, fighting games need free-to-play, fighting games need more DLC, it needs a better tutorial. This is everything. It's my own fighting games need X example. In a fighting game, at the end of a match, we need to have a button that very quickly just lets you GG your opponent. Just let your opponent know, hey, that was a good game. Because right now, in my fucked up mind palace, every single person that I'm playing against fucking hates me, and I fucking hate them for it. If they could just hit the GG right at the end, I'd be like, fuck this guy, this guy's alright, actually. This guy is okay. This guy lives a real life outside of this game. He loves his life, and he thinks that I'm an alright person as well. I'm gonna GG him back. And suddenly, goodness has been returned to the world. A little GG button that you're only allowed to press once, a little GG button that you're allowed to press at the end of the game would solve all of the world's problems. Street Fighter 6 lets you thumbs up a person's profile after a match, but they don't get notified on it. What's the fucking point then? If you're going to let your player base self-select on bringing positivity into the world, and then not let other players see that positivity, what's the fucking point? I'm not trying to do positive affirmations inside of Street Fighter. I'm trying to tell my opponent, you were sick. We had a good game. I'm a little bit grumpy, but I respect you as a human being. I don't want to write it down on a piece of paper at the end of my match. That's fucking stupid. Fighting games need a way to talk to your opponent after a match. Okay, we're holding the pause. I'm not trying to have some guy tell me that he typed GG 5 times, and I have to turn around and go like, you don't need to say all that. A GG button would fix Strive. Everyone is molding there for sure. Okay, let's be honest. It wouldn't fix Strive. It wouldn't fix Strive. Saying that a GG button would fix any game is a delusion of both yours and mine experience. I think that this goes in annoying, debatably, for the love of God, stop. But you do have a good point, Pun Life, from ages ago, where it depends on what the X is. In my head, people complaining about DLC is good, but also I am 29, and so I remember when video games, A, didn't have DLC, and 2, horse armor was like a crazy, stupid concept that nobody would ever buy into. And now we live in the world of Fortnite and Street Fighter 6 battle passes. So for me, I like the DLC discussion where like everyone's going, the DLC sucks, the DLC is bad, everything is stupid. DLC discussion is an are you employed or not problem. You, chatter, you have just divided yourself from your fellow man. We're all crushed under the weight of being, like, working or middle class. Some of us are unemployed, but, you know, like, we're all in the same bracket, let's be fair. We're in a K-shaped economy. Why are we pitting each other against each other, like, people of the same bracket, when there's people that are making $1 million that are, like, actively giving us the bullets to shoot each other? We should be mad at the guy at the top. We shouldn't be mad at the people that are unemployed versus employed. Leon going communist. I'm just putting up like a picture of Karl Marx like performatively in the background to be like, anyone else? Anyone else? Who's the guy on top in the FGC to be mad about? Sajam? No. This would be like Capcom executives. The guy at the top is like always the business that runs the company. Even though chances are like the guy at the top is like Capcom headquarters that are looking at their profit margin. And for some reason, Twitter is like the guy who directs the game. He's got to be killed. Like, I think that like the DLC discussion is like annoying, but ultimately like any brand of DLC discussion, it's annoying. It's occasionally please just stop, but it's really harmless, and so it's mostly I think it's a who cares. I think it's a who cares. When DLC Discourse comes around, I'm like, I don't know, man. Let's go to something that I think we'll all agree on. Why X died? I've seen it a million different times. Rising Thunder. The newest Street Fighter for some reason, and I'm not talking Street Fighter 6, I mean like Street Fighter 5 while it's currently alive. Sajam killed X. I've never run into a Sajam killed X, but I believe that that guy exists. Now that is a problem, because I've decided that the straw man that you've presented to me is a real person. It's genuinely 1984. Guy who has read the first 10 pages of 1984 be like. But the why X game died, Rumbleverse, for example. We'll get there, don't worry. I think that this is all, like, you need to leave. This even goes beyond fighting games. Whenever someone's saying why Fortnite died, a game that is currently being played by like hundreds of thousands of people as we speak. Apex Legends, same thing. Any form of why X died, here's my opinion on what X game should have done that I wasn't playing, that person needs to leave the conversation immediately. It's rage bait for the people that actually like that game, and for the people that don't, it gives them an air of intelligence for a thing that they are completely uninformed in. Why Guilty Gear Strive died? Exactly. Like, a game that is, like, currently at EVO, it's like, are you fucking stupid? It's that. Nobody who's, like, X game died is ever talking about a game that is, or, like, why X game died, is talking about a game that's actually dead. It's always to, like, punch down on a community that is either just not doing very well right now, or punch down on a game that is doing very well for no fucking reason. It's basically I don't like X game in a different form. Speaking of which, My Game Sucks. The My Game Sucks guy who is playing Tekken, who is playing Street Fighter, who is playing... This is primarily aimed at Smash Ultimate players. However, before all of the Melee players in my chat go, let's fucking shit on Ultimate, Melee players do it as well. Now, typically it is the new gen. Let's be reasonable. It's normally the new gen that are saying my game sucks. It is incredibly annoying. However, I think that it only goes up from annoying. I don't think it ever goes down, because there's a guy who's much more annoying than this. This guy, my game sucks, he wants to scream into the void. I don't necessarily like when he does it, but he's entitled to do it. If he's logging into his game and actually playing, I think that it's fair that he does it, even though I don't give a shit. The your game sucks guy, this happens all the fucking time. New game comes out, guy doesn't like the new game, he goes back to the old game, but for some reason he's just so online pilled that he's still talking about the new game that he doesn't play, and he's just constantly going, your game sucks, your game sucks. You're thinking to yourself, that's you. That's you, Leon. I know. Which is why... this guy needs to leave. If the your game sucks guy shows up, he's not doing it to benefit himself. It doesn't make him feel good. It doesn't add joy to the world. The only reason that this guy exists is to be mad. And don't get me wrong, you're allowed to be mad, but he's being mad in a way that yucks your yum. Xrd players, am I right? The Xrd player who is still stuck going Strive sucks, they're also not playing Xrd. They're just saying your game sucks. They're not saying your game sucks and my game is sick. They're saying your game sucks, end of conversation, I'm gonna go and goon my head off to Milia. The Dizzy Gooner who never plays Xrd. It's this person. I don't know if they exist, but I would imagine that whenever I go into like the random like Guilty Gear stream and someone's going, this game sucks because Xrd was better, I've never seen their name online. They're never in the fucking there's 40 fucking people on Xrd at all times. And for some reason, the guy who's saying Xrd is so good and Strive sucks, they're never playing the fucking game. He's the worst kind of guy. He needs to leave, both for the community that he actually wants to be a part of that he's never actually in, and for the community that he's going after for no reason. Fuck this guy. Old game LARPers. Exactly. They're fucking LARPers. There's so many fucking old game LARPers who never fucking hop on their game that they say they love. Fuck off, man. Real FGC. This comes in like a couple of different variations. Every once in a while, it's just like, this guy isn't real FGC, ex-commentator isn't real FGC. Perfect example of like, individual person isn't real FGC. Lily Pichu, the player who is very clearly, like, very passionate about the games that she really clearly loves, is occasionally denounced as, like, not real FGC, and is like, are we being fucking sincere here? Do we actually really believe that someone isn't real FGC just because they got into it in the last, like, 6 months? In my head, that person is real FGC. And so, like, in that specific circumstance, when we're going individual person, you should leave. Because it's like, you're fucking shitting on somebody else for enjoying something. People calling Lily an FGC tourist is wild. I hate that fucking word specifically. I cannot fucking stand the word tourist. Because it's like, it's self-aggrandizing to people who are like, I'm gonna put 1,000 hours into a thing that, like, chances are I stopped enjoying 900 hours ago. The people that generally speaking, the people that are calling people tourists don't even like the thing that they say that they like. I can't stand the word tourist. If you say the word tourist, I'm not saying that you're a bad person. The name above your little avatar isn't red yet, but like your karmic balance is scaling towards villain. Be careful. The FGC is broken up too into subgenres and games, and even in those, they're more broken up. Anyone who plays fighting games is FGC, and anyone who really pays attention to the scene is part of the core IMO. When the argument real FGC comes around, it could be a really interesting discussion in what you've just identified. That is a very, it's a very pertinent observation, because it's like, is the person who engages with the media the real FGC, or does the person who engages with the media also need to, like, in themselves recognize that they are the real FGC? For example, guy who plays Guilty Gear for 1,000 hours, but doesn't consider himself a fighting game player. Is he part of the real FGC? Now, that's a very complicated question, and it's not a complicated question that comes with some vitriol. When it comes around, 99% of the time, real FGC is being brought up to say, hey, this guy should be ignored because he's not a part of the real FGC. And that's fucking stupid. Real FGC is an immigration debate to the you should leave category. It's actually true. You've said it, and now I'm like, holy shit, he's right. It's just reform voters, but for fighting games. Holy fuck. You've settled the argument. Shake my hand. Shake my very large hand. Form versus function. Big who cares energy. First time chatter. You know what? It's an excellent first chat. I 100% agree with you. Like all things, maybe not all things, but like most things in this list, the discourse can be actually good, so long as the people that come to it are willing to have like a nuanced discussion about it. You and 3 friends in the same car up to a tournament, this is a fantastic discussion. But you're on Twitter. You run into this conversation on Twitter. If you're in a car with 3 of your mates, you're not having this discussion. You lost me at me and my 3 friends, damn. But like, if you're on Twitter, this conversation never goes well. I just think this is in a who cares category. Grassroots versus esports. Chat, I need you to give me your perspective on this, because I was about to say my opinion here is going to get fucked up, but I think your opinion might be fucked up as well. Now, I'm not saying that we're right, but I'm saying that I think your opinion is fucked up. Actually good, fuck a corporation, eat sports. That's a true? I'm gonna level with you. I think it's actually good. I love this shit. Every time this conversation comes around, there's like good things and bad things. But ultimately, what are the best times in my life? What are the best times in my life? Not even just in the FGC, in X tournament. It's always some bum shit. It's always true grassroots shit. Take a world tour. Dog shit. I don't give a fuck. You throw me in the fucking slums? You throw me in that fucking London tournament where it's like, you have to go through like Manor House, and there's like the worst fucking pub that does pizza right next to it. The fucking chicken shops are all dog shit around it. It's vibes. It's incredible. Stop indirecting Elf. I'm directing Elf. It's sick. It's vibes. It's so good. I go to fucking TWT. You know what it is? It's 300 people that get in a venue, and then they never fucking talk to each other again. That's what esports is. It's 300 guys show up to a tournament, They all go, that's the guy on the stage, that's my favorite celebrity. And then what the fuck happens? They go to fuck home. There wasn't any human connection there. There was a fucking guy on a pedestal and 200 people going, yes, yes. Fuck that. Even though the discourse isn't that good, I get to go, yeah, but you remember Air, you remember Fate, you remember Origin? Do you remember Origin? No motherfuckers are talking about Origin. Because there's like 5 of us that remember that shit. And so I get to go up to you and tell you a novel experience about my life. And you get to go, holy shit, that's so cool. That's just like the time that like X, Y, and Z happened that was novel in my life as well. And then we get to have like a little back and forth about our lived experience. The moment that it becomes esports, it's like, did you see Tokido get 3rd? And you go, yes. End of conversation. If it's not Grassroots, I don't want it. Free to play? Annoying. Don't care. Growth. To be specific here, it's when people say, what do we need to grow the FGC? Who cares? Who cares? We don't need growth necessarily. See, this is I think the angle that we all agree on. Grind, hustle, culture, slop. Now that I 100% agree with. I'm gonna agree with Galwin quote. It is very much like guy who wants to turn fighting games into like a side hustle. He wants this to be his business while he does like nothing to actually like enrich the lives of people around you. People often conflate multiple types of growth. That is true. Like people will say like, what do we need to do to get more people into our tournament, and then start talking about game design changes. And it's like, that's not what we're in the realm of being able to talk about here. Because between TOs, this is like a pretty decent conversation. The moment that it hits the timeline, it's like fucking 10 guys that aren't showing up to locals, that don't even like help the TO like pack down, talking about what their local should be doing. And quite frankly, that guy needs to shut the fuck up. Because the first thing that he should be doing is going up to the TO and going like, hey, do you want me to like pack this away when the tournament is very clearly like coming to a close? A guy who has TO friends but has never TO'd something in his life be like, fucking people that have never TO'd in their life will always be doing shit. Is Smash FGC this one? Now, this is an old one. I haven't seen this one come around in a very long time. I have not seen this shit come around for fucking ages. You should leave because it's a bit of a half and half, right? Some people are bringing up the discussion to have the fucking real FGC discourse. Some people are doing that. Some people are having the discussion to like rage bait Smash players, and some Smash players are bringing up the discussion because they want to be in like the big boys club, not realizing that like, buddy, you have like Genesis. You're in the big boys club. No offense, but like when Street Fighter V goes down, they don't have thousands and thousands of people deciding to go and run a Street Fighter V major on their own dime. You're in the big boys club. You're already there. Motion inputs. Annoying, but it's important or we lose everything, Leon. Look, okay. If we're talking in the very, very specific circumstance of like Street Fighter 6, it's just annoying. But whenever the motion inputs discussion comes up, I'm like, we need to shut the fuck up. We just need to shut the fuck up. It's FGC slop for YouTube. That's true. That's true. How would Sajam ever get paid if the motion inputs discourse didn't come up twice a year? How would I ever get paid as well? I think the motion inputs discussion is a for the love of God stop. It's not a you should leave, but it's a case of, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we get to say words, but like, I've already had this discussion 10 times. I think the first time around, let's say you're new to fighting games. The first time around that the motion inputs discussion gets brought up, it's actually interesting to you. The second, third, fifth, and 400th time, it's the most fucking benign conversation you've ever had. And so I would really rather you stop. But I don't think that it's necessarily a problem. X content creator has ruined X. There's normally 10 guys that have this discussion, and it's not really like a Twitter discourse. It's a who cares. Old game good. This is normally paired with new game bad. Who cares, actually good. The initial inception normally comes from a good place. If they are just posting it without like discussing without it being in the middle of like a Street Fighter 6 discussion, for example. Then it's good. When it's Big Yellow, who's just like, I just fucking love Street Fighter 5, actually good. Every time. Because it's someone sharing their love for the world. It puts positivity into the world. However, the discourse around it is always bad. The discourse around it always becomes, actually, this is why this game is good, and X game is dead, and X game sucks, and everyone who plays X game is stupid. It always turns into this. It's your game sucks in disguise. It's actually true. And the worst part is, it's almost like a Trojan horse. But the guy who built the horse was like, I just fucking love building horses, and I want to give it to this other guy. And overnight, as he's preparing the horse, a bunch of fucking morons pile into it and go and attack the guy that it's being gifted to. It's annoying because I can't put it on the list twice, because it's actually good in some aspects and you should leave in a lot of others. Fighting game players on Twitter who have never played Marvel 3 or KI, your favorite new game sucks. I miss Marvel 3 or KI. Where is it? I will say less. I'm the Rumbleverse was goated guy, but also I've never played it. Onboarding. I think that this, okay, onboarding, I just want to have a rant about the word onboarding. I've never had a friend come up to me and say, hey, do you want to onboard this new drink? Why the fuck do we say it about fighting games? When we're talking about people just getting into playing a video game, does the word onboarding come out? You don't work at the company. What the fuck are you onboarding? It doesn't make any sense. Just say, how do we get people to like give a shit about our game when it's hard? It's like, you're getting one guide? I am, and it's my God-given right to get one guide. It's just growth in disguise with like more nice speak. I hate it. A guy who wants to make the FGC a side hustle loves this topic. Exactly. Somebody fucking VIP and mod and sub that chatter right now. PC versus PS5. This is another discourse that dramatically changes depending on who's having it. If you're a TO, this is a very good like level of discourse, and you're probably all very well informed on why X or Y does or doesn't work for your very specific circumstances. PC versus PS5 in a Twitter context in which somebody is just trying to play online and isn't trying to TO anything and is going to hold up the bracket in the online weekly, I'm sick of hearing it. If you're going to be talking about like the infrastructure of how games are run and you're not the guy running it, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't give a shit what console it's on because you're not the one fucking running the event. I don't care. Roster size does low-key matter. However, I feel like roster size is secretly a am I going to buy this game discussion. Has anyone encountered the roster size discussion without it just being some guy justifying why he's not buying a video game? I don't think that like it's ever actually good. The state of X, for the love of God, stop. Typically speaking, this is different from your game sucks, my game sucks. Because it's a guy who thinks that he wants to have an insightful discussion, but just wants to have like 20 people jerk him off. It's your game sucks light. It's true. But it's also my game sucks. Because normally the person who's saying the state of X is normally a person who is actually playing the game. However, the fact that they are willing to like veil it in the slimmest like veneer of intellectualism, I find more frustrating than my game sucks. It splits the difference. I'm with you. There's too many X games. Right now, this is like there's too many tag games. Which is crazy because, like, if you go back 5 years, it's hundreds of people saying, where's the tag games? This is, I think, who cares? Because it's who cares? You should leave? I don't think it's that. I think I look at it and I go, meh, maybe you have a point. But I'm never like, let's get into a discussion about this. I'm like, all right, who gives a shit? Venue fees. I don't know if this is me just imagining that this discussion happens more than like once. But I remember the venue fees discussion with Melee specifically like 6 years ago. And I thought that this was like annoying at the time. Locals cost venue fees has happened a fair bit in the FGC. I've just somehow missed that discussion every time, thankfully. Every Evo this happens. A part of me is like, this is actually a good discussion. Everyone needs to recognize that the TOs need to be talking right now. And the TOs aren't necessarily talking. TOs, what is your opinion on this? Because if we're gonna realistically give TOs as much credit as we have with some of the other ones, TOs are the only people that are important in this discussion. However, I do think that people that are just attending should talk about what is reasonable as a venue fee for them. Never ever become a TO no matter what anyone tells you. TO, streamer is talking, keep on topic. See, I do think that this is a case of if it becomes like a discussion as opposed to discourse, it's very, very good. Because a little bit of transparency about why things cost as much as they do, I think makes it easier to justify the purchase if it's on the borderline for you. Obviously, if someone's like, I would never pay £15 for like venue fee, and then you explain why it's £15, chances are they're still not going to pay it. But if someone's like, I don't know, do I really want to go to this tournament? And you're willing to go like, okay, but here's like why it costs this much. I feel like they'll go, I get it, and then probably pay up. I just think that it's wild that people get hours an event for like a tenner and then cry that it's too much. True. I'll give you a true. I think that this is venue fee discussion or discourse. I'm going to put it in the actually good tier because 90% of the time, if it's about like a local kind of group, it provides clarity on why things cost as much as they do and gives like the community a greater sense that the person who's running the tournament for them isn't like a guy at the top of a big corporate chain just trying to fuck them over, you know? But when it comes to Evo, like, I don't know, man. It's like annoying. It's like, just say that you're going or don't go, man. I don't give a shit. But I will say, I think that like for clarity's sake, I think that it can go in the actually good territory. Training mode, I don't even know why I put this on here. Training mode discourse like just doesn't come around anymore. I don't know, just who gives a shit. Why nobody is playing X. This is just why X died in a different form. Why did I put this on here either? I think this is you should leave. Because normally if somebody's going like, why is nobody playing X? It's to bait people into going, this game sucked actually. Why is nobody playing game that people play? It's true. That always comes up and I'm like, for the love of God, shut the fuck up, please. Please, I don't care. I'm not saying this because I'm making one right now. This does not apply to this tier list specifically, but tier lists, actually good. Actually good. And let me explain why. It's not just fun discourse, it is discourse about the game that never becomes, this game sucks because of X. A tier list is always, I fucking hate X character, this character's really strong, this character's really weak. It all gets contained within the miasma that is your toy. It never becomes, you as a person suck. The reason tier lists are so good is because it turns all of the discourse that you could have that is meta, all shit outside of the game that like you realistically aren't playing the game for, and just gets rid of it. You are now exclusively talking about this character's cool, I like this toy, this toy, this toy. This toy doesn't get enough respect. This toy, really bad. This toy, overrated. I don't give a shit. Sonic can go fuck himself. I don't know. But it becomes discussion about the game. Let me make a tier list of all 187 league characters for who belongs in 2XKO real quick. But that's not... Do you not think that that's good? Do you not think that that's like a good thing? Because it's like, it's people being like, I really want to see where the future goes for this game. It's slop. It's all slop. The whole world is slop by that logic. Just make a top 10. You don't want to smell the roses. You don't want to smell the roses. You're a guy who wants to go into ChatGPT and go, write me a book. You don't want to stop and smell the roses and write the book yourself. You hate the process. I think that's my tier list. Get the Gyazo up. It's their problem now. We've both added and retracted from the world. Do we all feel like we've had a healthy discussion today? I don't think we have. I think we've engaged in fast food and slop and crud and mud. What do you think about fighting game discourse? Has anyone driven you insane on the internet? Bye-bye, YouTube. Say bye-bye, YouTube.